Head and Cervical Placement Principle, explained. The cervical spine should maintain its natural curve. In an upright posture, the head should be aligned directly over the shoulders. In all starting positions, the head, neck, and shoulders must maintain this relative positioning. If the thoracic spine is flexed, excessive thoracic kyphosis, or the head is extended forward in a supine position, you may need to use a pillow or foam cushion to prevent excessive extension of the cervical spine and avoid unnecessary tension in the neck. When the body is flexing, extending, side bending, or rotating, the cervical spine should generally stay in line with the thoracic spine. Whenever the thoracic spine is flexed, the cervical spine must also follow in flexion. In supine positions, when the spine flexes, avoid using the neck to initiate the movement. Instead, the flexion should originate from the thoracic spine. The movement of cervical flexion should involve the head lifting away from the shoulders, followed by a slight flexion of the upper two cervical vertebrae. After flexing the cervical spine, continue to flex the thoracic spine. When the cervical spine reaches its ideal flexion, the chin should not press against the chest. There should be a fist-sized gap between the chin and the chest. In a supine position, when extending the upper body, pay close attention to the even extension of the thoracic spine up to the cervical spine. Avoid lifting the head too high, and do not overly compress the cervical spine. Another point to note is that the line of sight affects the position of the cervical spine. In a supine position, when flexing the upper body, the line of sight should align with the degree of spinal flexion to ensure the entire cervical spine maintains its axial motion. When extending the thoracic spine, the focus of the movement should also align with this. In neutral seated positions and during all exercises, the line of sight must support the alignment of the head, cervical spine, and thoracic spine, which should remain in a straight line throughout the movement. Head and Cervical Placement Principle exercises. The following movements explain the principle of head and cervical placement. 1. Cervical flexion, not action. Starting position. Lie supine with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Bend both knees with feet flat on the mat, hip width apart. Arms are extended along the sides of the body, palms facing down. Before practicing thoracic flexion, practice cervical flexion first. Avoid the chin pressing against the chest, as this will cause excessive cervical flexion. Inhale, slightly lower the gaze and tilt the head forward, resting on the mat. Exhale, return to the neutral position. 2. Abdominal preparation with adjustment. Starting position. Lie supine with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Bend both knees with feet flat on the mat, hip width apart. The head is supported by both hands. Inhale, lengthen the back of the neck. Exhale. While maintaining the length in the back of the neck, stabilize the shoulder blades, engage the abdominal muscles, and allow the rib cage to slide toward the pelvis as the thoracic spine flexes. Throughout the movement, keep the pelvis in a neutral position and ensure activation of the transverse abdominis. Inhale. Keep the abdominal muscles engaged to maintain a flexed posture while expanding the back of the rib cage in both sides. Let the weight of the head rest in both hands while maintaining the length in the back of the neck. Exhale, lower the upper body to the mat, allowing the head to rest back on the mat, and return the cervical spine to the neutral position. 3. Adjusted breaststroke preparation exercise. Starting position. Lie prone with the pelvis and spine in a neutral position. Both hands rest on the mat beside the shoulders, and the legs are extended parallel to each other. The nose is facing directly downward, with the forehead resting on the mat. If needed, place a small foam cushion under the forehead to support the cervical spine. Resting the forehead directly on the mat might cause excessive cervical flexion, and the chin on the mat could lead to overextension of the cervical spine. Inhale. Stabilize the shoulder blades with the support of the upper back. Exhale. Maintain scapular stability and extend the head away from the tailbone, lengthening the cervical spine while extending the thoracic spine. Allow the rib cage to expand outward while keeping the lower ribs in contact with the mat. Inhale. Maintain the extended posture and allow the breath to enter both sides of the rib cage, continuing to engage the abdominal muscles. Exhale, stabilize the scapulae, and lower the upper body back onto the mat while maintaining the length in the cervical spine.